for 2 hours.
Welcome everyone. Yeah.
Is that
All right.
everyone?
Wait, why is it like feedbacking?
So before we start, I'll make an announcement. So we found that from the previous two classes that an hour seems to not be enough, because there are some additional nuances that we need to address, and like we can help people if we're given extra time. So we talked to the parents, and you guys may already know this, but our class is going to be for 2 hours now, since it's just going to help a bit more with like learning. We'll have a 10-minute break in between. We'll let you guys know when that break is. And yeah, so some new developments. This class is now going to be for 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah. Also, some other housekeeping things. Uh, we're probably gonna have to do a bit more review than usual. So why don't we just get started with that? Okay. So another thing that Eric and I and Andrew have noticed in the homework is that there's a lot of issues with syntax. So it would behoove us to um, spend a couple more, spend some more time on that. All right. So syntax is very important in Java because if you get wrong syntax, then your code just won't run. Um, so hold up, stream isn't updating. Uh, let's take a look. Can you guys see that I'm on the second page?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, that's a bit weird. Okay, so we're there's a bit of some issues with creating variables. So why don't we go over that? So you can see here there are a couple of parts to creating a variable. This is the entire statement right here. Can you guys see that? Because I have another screen here where it's not showing up.
I can see a screen
All right.
saying
Okay.
initialize your name.
That's fine. All right, that's good. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, this is the statement that you guys should be using to create an integer variable. Int x equals 10, and there are a couple parts to this. So the first part is the initializer. This is the one in red. It creates a variable of a certain type. So we could have initializer of int, we could have one of string, of double, of boolean, of char, of array list, of array. Basically any type of this tells the computer that I'm creating a variable of this type. But variables also need to have names. So a name is also very important. I saw a couple of people did not put names in their variables. This is so that you can go back and reference the variable and say, hey, this variable called x, I want to modify it to be this other value. And the one in blue, this is the value. This is what the variable actually stores. In this case, it's 10, but it could be like 11, 12, any number. It could be a string, like water bottle. It could be a character like a. Am I? No, there's another one. Okay. Okay. So and also you should always have a semicolon after every single statement. there's some, intricacies that we'll get over. As far as you're concerned, at this level, there should be a semicolon after every single statement, whether that be a print line statement, a setting a variable, making a variable, adding stuff to other variables, anything like that. There should always be semicolons. Speaking of setting variables, it's a bit different. There's no initializer when setting a variable. You shouldn't, because remember, the initializer creates a variable of a certain type. So if you're not creating a variable, instead of changing a variable, you shouldn't have an initializer. And then the name of the variable, you obviously use this to say, okay, I want to modify variable X. And the value of the variable is, it's just the same thing as the others. You should always have a semicolon as well. And the value of the variable should also be changed in between the two. Strings are different. I made a video about this the first week, but strings are capitalized because they are not primitive. Primitive variables are lowercase, objects are capitalized. And if you still don't know the difference, then you can just go over and watch the video again. But yeah, you still have the name, you still have the equal sign, but string values also should have quotes around them. String values are in quotes to say, okay, this is text, it's not another variable reference. So just keep that in mind. That's basically it for syntax. Yeah, just you have to remember these things. These are the small stuff that will make or break your code, and just keep in mind that you gotta know these things, basically. Okay, so we're also gonna have you guys do homework corrections right now. Although there's a little catch. Do any of you guys have IntelliJ installed? If you don't have IntelliJ, raise your hand. On Zoom, as in like something like this.
Yeah.
If you don't have IntelliJ, then raise your hand. Okay, everyone here has IntelliJ installed, and it works. As in, you can pull up IntelliJ, and you can type in it, and you can run it, and it'll make some code and it'll output stuff. Everyone has that. All right. Okay, that's great. We're gonna do homework corrections because a lot of you guys either didn't do your homework or there's more to be desired, right? So keeping in mind the new syntax rules that we've taught you, you can go back. We've returned all your homework to you. You can go back and do the homework again, and we'll regrade it and we'll give you a new score. So yeah, we'll give you about 15 minutes until 3:25. And if you guys have any questions, just raise your hand and yeah.
Or if you don't want to speak, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah, or you can private message us as well.
Andrew. So wait, why is it echoing?
Is it echoing? Yes, Olivia?
I can't, I'm trying to unsubmit it, but it won't let me.
Oh, yeah. We also had a bit of issues. There seems to be just a glitch in Classroom. Yeah, I also can't. So I can't return yours to you. That's a bit of an issue.
Also my Google account is out of storage, so maybe that's why.
That might be it. Yeah, you have to go clear out your drive then. Go to drive.google.com and then you on the left there's a panel that shows you how much storage space you have left in your drive, and if it's full, then you should probably clear some stuff out. By the way, some of you haven't completed homework 1 or 2, so now's your chance to finish those 2 and submit them because this practice is really essential to help you guys just get those syntax things, get the making and setting variables down so that we can move on to more advanced things. And it's also a good indicator for us as to tell us like how and where you need help. All right, guys, there are 3 minutes left to do homework corrections. You can, well, in class, you can do these like out of class and resubmit them whenever you want, and we'll regrade them. But yeah, it's for the time that you have in class, you have 3 more minutes left. Also, guys, make sure you actually like time's up by the way, but for future reference, make sure that you actually change your homework, because if you just resubmit it, we're just gonna see that's resubmitted with the same stuff and then grade it the same exact way. So yeah, just for some in the future, that is. Okay. Why don't we extend this by 5 minutes? Because not actually, there aren't many people that have actually submitted their assignments back to us. By the way, there are still a lot of you who have missing homeworks on homework 2 and homework 1. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would submit those. It'd be a really big help for us. And also I'll PM each of you if you guys have missing homework.
What's PM?
Private message. Okay. That's really it. I think that's all the class time that we're gonna allot to homework corrections. All right. So we're gonna do a bit of review over this. It's just really essential that you guys just get this into memory, that how to make and set variables, because this is the building block of everything you do in Java. So it's very important that you get this right. So let's do this. Okay. So variables, we make them and set them in x equals 1, right? So the variable type, name, and value. There are a lot of variable types. For example, int, string, double, and boolean. And they go into the initializer slot. You have the name here, and then you have the value. So there are a couple of different ways of setting variables. You can have, if you have like integers or anything that's really not a string or a character, you just put the value in here without any quotes. You could just initialize it without setting any value. This will automatically set the variable value to null, which is basically just means there's no data provided. And also there are strings which you have wrapped in quotes, because that's how you denote a string value. So there's a difference between making and setting a variable. To make a variable, you include the initializer, and then to set the variable, you don't include the initializer. And then this is all example code. We already went over this. Okay. So most of the issues that I actually saw in the homework weren't with operations. There was just kind of the wording of the question. So for example, we asked you guys on homework 2, we asked you guys to basically make 2 int variables and then add them up to make a third int variable. Or sorry, we asked to make one int variable, set another int variable to that int variable, and then add the 2 int variables to make a third int variable, and then print that one out. I saw a lot of people doing this. They would say int x equals 10, int y equals x, int z equals x plus y, and then system.out.print print line, let's say x plus y, which was a way to do it. It will get you the same solution as our intended solution, but that's kind of missing the point. We kind of wanted you to just do this, print line z. But yeah, that was the intended solution. We didn't dock points for putting in x plus y in here, and it demonstrates that you can actually like add things in the print line statement. You could add things here, and it'll just treat them as they're added, because it does operations first, then it executes the function. But yeah, that's just a bit of a difference.
Oh, also, Alex, I mean, do you want me to go over the homework right now? Or?
Hold up.
Okay.
I am getting echo.
Oh, the guy unmuted. Wait.
Why am I getting
Okay.
echo? Wait, hold up. Okay.
So, do you want me to go over the homework?
Yeah, please do, because you're the one who.
Yeah, I was the one who wrote that. So, okay, so here's the homework 2 answer key that I just wrote because, okay. So for 1A, I think this is something we learned like last week. And then, so some common mistakes for, so for 1B, this is what I was looking for. Some common mistakes I saw was having it set to 10 instead of set to X. I mean, it does have the same result, but that's not what I was looking for. And then for part C, some common mistakes as well was instead of having x plus y, some people just had 10 plus 10, or they could have, or they had something like this, which again it has the same result, but it's kind of not using Java operations and such. And in the end, that's kind of what Java does, just to replace the variable with the value. But in a situation where you might not know what the value is, you could only use the variable. So that's the point. And then for this, you just, I mean, it was probably mostly good. It's just something you have to memorize, that it's system.out.print. And then for 2, it's pretty much similar to 1, and this is just review. So what I could say is, if you're trying to like set a variable to another variable, what that is saying is, not setting it to the value of the other variable, but to like actually set it to the other variable, if you get what I mean. That's kind of confusing, I guess. But
Also, for 2B, I noticed something where you not many people actually put the space before the is. Yeah, you want to put the space there because when you end up adding the two variables, name and action, like Eric plus is doing their homework, if you don't have the space before, it's going to be one word. Eric and is going to just be smushed into one word. Because when you add strings, they don't automatically add spaces in between the two strings that you're adding. So you must put it in there to make it so that you can see the different words. And then I also saw some people that just didn't add the two and print it out. We are getting a bit more vague. There's a lot less hand-holding in how we word our questions nowadays, as opposed to like the first couple of questions that we gave you. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where we're just going to give you a problem. Like, for example, Dora has a backpack. She wants to collect stones. The stones in her path weigh a certain number of kilograms, and then we're going to give you an array or like a set of the weights of the stones, and then we're going to say Dora's backpack can hold 20 kilograms. How far can she make it in the path before she can't pick up any more stones? And then you're just going to have to solve it. So it's going to be a lot more open-ended, and we're going to look for more results and a certain process to solving these problems instead of getting an answer that we were predetermined for you.
Also, yeah, Chuck, you have a question?
I put the space after the string name, and I put the space after the string name instead of putting it before the action. I put it after.
I mean, yeah, that works too. I mean, really, the value of the string doesn't really matter for now, at least. So yeah.
It doesn't matter for now, but that wasn't really what we were looking for. I guess, yeah, if it works, it works. But it might not set you up for. This doesn't matter in this case, but like, there's a certain way that we structure problems, and there's reasons for that. So like, if you're doing like z equals 10 plus 10 instead of x plus y, like there's a reason. There's a certain process we want you to follow with these problems, and so yeah, that might not be great for you in the future if you do it like that. So don't try any funny business is what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, we're just talking for a second.
All right, we're gonna do Book It now. It's like a review. Some of the questions are a bit hard, so
I
don't.
love Fluke. It's super
Yeah,
fun,
same.
right? It's super fun. I played a
So
lot of quiz websites like Fluke, Kahoot, and they're all so.
yeah, so we're gonna do a look at. Let's see if I can share my screen. You guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. Go to Blookit. I think is it blookit.com? Yeah, blookit.com. Okay.
Go,
We're
yeah,
gonna
go
have a
to the
poll.
link in
I don't know
chat.
if we can do polls, but type in the chat which game you want to play. There's Crypto Hack, Gold Quest, Tower Defense, Cafe. Which game do you guys want to play?
I'll just set up a poll real quick. Hold up.
Yeah, or you can set up a poll if you want, but it's even one message could decide it right now. So
Yeah.
I've never seen Crypto Hack before.
I have not played Blicket before.
Well,
I like Crypto Hack. Crypto Hack is like a funner version of Gold Quest.
I know.
All right, which four do we want? Are we gonna want?
Version.
Steal the gold and crypto hack?
Okay, how about we do Crypto Hack?
Okay,
yeah,
I guess we're gonna do Crypto Hack.
No, but I'm afraid
No.
to me.
Oh no, we can do the other ones after. We can do the other
Yeah,
ones
we
after.
can do this twice.
Me
How about this? Next class, or maybe even later today, we'll
Okay,
we'll
we
we'll
do
do
5
we'll do another one.
minutes.
All right.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Okay, here's the ID. Type it in chat.
Wait, are you sharing sound because, or is there sound in this?
It might not be sharing sound. I mean, it's just music, so. Sub to not the Lord. Wait, can you put your actual name? Because if you win, then get a
We need
shout
16,
out.
by the way, in the lobby.
I've joined as well, so
Okay, 17 then.
Who's in joining? 1, 2, 3. Can you put your actual name, please?
also before we start. Oh, what?
How do I? What? How do I enter it? It says sign up or log in.
Wait, go to blookit.com.
Blookit.com/play. You should be able to enter a code once
So,
you get to
guys,
blookit.com.
just so you know, when you're adding ints, like if you have 10 plus 10, that's 20. And if you're adding strings, like if you have your name plus your age, it would be your name, your age. Just you guys will get it, I'm sure.
All right, who's in? We need 3 more people.
You know, how about this? We'll give you extra credit if you win the Blicket. I know how it works, but I guess we'll do top 3. The first person will get 3 extra credit points. Second place will get 2 extra credit points, and third place will get 1 extra credit point.
What is a credit point? Is it like one of those tokens?
Extra credit? It's like more points. If you do bad on a homework, then you get to patch up your grades with them.
If you guys get a bad score on the homework, don't worry. Like you could fix it pretty easily. So
Like
Yeah, you can just resubmit it.
homework problem that I get.
We should have. There should be two more people joining.
So every
2 people are not in.
question that I get correct adds me 1 point.
Wait, okay. If you're
No.
1, 2, 3, can you say your name? Who's 1, 2, 3?
It's like extra. So we grade your homework, right? So it's like you get like the first homework goes out of 10, you could get bonus points, and then the second homework was out of 9, right? So if you got like an 8 out of 9, we could give you 3 points extra credit, and you get a 12 out of 9. Like that's how it works. I'll just give you extra credit on homework too.
Okay, we're gonna start. For the extra player that's not in.
We've only got one more.
Too bad.
But I think you can join after too, so don't worry.
All right, guys. Eric, how are you not at first? First is in 130. Damn, that's a lot of crypto. 171. Wow. That sucks. Look at that. Oh. It looks like Nicholas and Abigail G are in a bit of a battle, a race, eh? Oh, and Abigail G takes the lead by a narrow margin. Oh, okay. Eric's on top, stealing 79 crypto from Abigail G. Vicious. Oh, whoa. Hey, when did Taimia come up on the leaderboard? That was unexpected.
What are you playing?
I know, I'm trying.
Okay, wow. Zoe on the leaderboard with 3. Hold up. Okay, yeah. I don't know how this game is played, but it seems like people are just popping up on the leaderboard. It seems like a lot of people just got hacked at the same time. All right. Well, time's almost up, guys. Better hack
There's
what
only
you
3
can.
seconds.
2. What? All right. Let's mark this down. Timea in first.
All right. Timea, Julia, Moo,
Moo,
and
and
Nicholas.
All right. I'll put
Let's look
your
at the
extra credit
report. We
scores in.
can go over the questions. 66% correct. Okay, let's see what you guys missed. Oh, we don't get the full game report. We can look at the we can look at the thing.
I see you.
Wait, what?
So, there's 10 questions. So let's just, do you want to go over each one? So for the first question, which of the following correctly sets a string variable with the value Joe? So on this one, if you got this incorrect, if you chose the first one, yellow, it was because you didn't realize that string needs to be capitalized, and if you chose this one, it was because you didn't realize that there needs to be quotes around the string. Like this is very easy to mess up. But you always have to have quotes. This one, no quotes, no capitalization. So this is definitely wrong. This is wrong, and this is wrong. So it has to be this one. So that was the first one. The second one, very similar, actually, like pretty much the same question. So yeah, so this is just testing your skills on if you know that this has to be capitalized, and there's quotes here. Next one, an int number has already been made. How would you set it to 10? Right? So since the number has already been made, you don't need the initializer. If you see the word initialize, you always have this. But since there's no initialize, you wouldn't need it. So in a different context, this code would be completely correct. You put it in IntelliJ, there will be no errors. This code is wrong because although although there is no initializer, there's also no semicolon. This one's wrong because this is capitalized, and you don't want it to be capitalized. So the correct answer was this one. Is everything correct? Everything else was just wrong. Besides, okay, yeah, that one, it was, but different. So which example is correct? Again, it's int has to be lowercase, and you have to have the semicolon. Very important. What does this code print out? Int x equals 10, int y equals 10, system.out.println x plus y. So if you chose this one, it's not an error. The code's right. It will work. I don't know. If you don't know this one, I'm going to explain it. 10 plus 10, this would not work since they're both ints, so it wouldn't print like that. If you put it in a print statement, it's almost like the logical operators actually, work. If you have strings in here, it's what we call concatenation, where the strings are combined. So even if they're strings, it wouldn't be this. So this is just wrong. So the correct answer here is 20, since it's executing the logical 10 plus 10. So it's going to be 20. That was number 5. Number 6, what does it print out? String x equals 10, string y equals 10, string system.out.println x plus y. So this was very similar to the last one, but instead of int, we use a string. So for this one, this is just wrong because these are variables. The program will never print this out. This is also wrong because when we concatenate, we never keep the plus. Imagine like we have two areas or two pieces of bread and we're squishing them together. The two pieces of bread are going to be like that, and it's going to combine like this. It's not going to add since these are strings. Just think of it like that. Yeah, so this would be 1010. Number 7, given the code below, int x equals 10, how do we change variable x into a 5? Since the code is already initialized, you don't need to have this int anymore. So if you chose int, that's just wrong. This is just a syntax error. This format's completely off. And this is just random stuff, x minus 5. It's not going to work. So the correct answer here would be this.
Oh, also, oops. Just to add, whenever you print out something, what's in the parentheses is not going to literally get printed out onto the page. For example, if you put x plus y, it's not going to literally print out x plus y unless you put it in quotes. Now, we didn't say this before, but these quotes and whatever's in them is called a string literal, because it literally just prints out whatever's in the quotes. But if you don't have any quotes, then it's going to perform the logical operations on whatever you put in. Like, for example, x plus y, it's going to add them and then print it out. Like, we could even make it more complicated. We do like x plus y times 2. If x was 10, y was 10, then we'd have 10 plus 20 equals 30. So you can make it as like complex as you want. It'll still print it out after doing the logic.
That's true. All right. So for number 8, how do we initialize variable x as the sum of variables y and z? Since we have the keyword initialize, so every time you see the word initialize, think set, like initially. So the first time we're going to make the variable, we're always going to need this initializer. So we're going to need this int part at the start. And so the reason why this is wrong, well, there's no initializer and it's flipped, so this would never ever work. This has no initializer, also has no semicolon, and this just doesn't make any sense. So for this one, it would be this line of code. The next one, wait, I'll just keep these up. For the next one, set int variable x to the sum of variable y and 10. So since similar to initialize, we see this word set. So when we set something, if we're setting something, we always have to have the initializer. All of these have it, but some are just used incorrectly. Like this one, you never have it at the right side. Oh, I guess maybe it didn't set all of them to correct. But this one is right, and so is this one. I don't know why it doesn't show this one's right. So blue and green would be right here. And for number 10, this is like the same thing, similar to same question as number 8. But yeah, so this doesn't make any sense since 10 is not x and y. This is wrong because int is capital, and this is wrong because there's no int. So if you can detect errors in code easily, then this should be no problem for you because you can just look at, say like you look at this, you can immediately detect that, this is just wrong. So yeah, you don't even have to, as long as you can see the small things. So that's all I have to say about that.
And also, by the way, the way you get better at learning what's error code and what won't run is just practicing. You need to just keep practicing coding in Java. Even if like this is something that'll come up later, but like sometimes what I'll do for practice for coding is I'll just say, okay, I want to make an application in Java, like a program that will calculate the volume of a prism given the length, width, and radius of the bottom, or like a cylinder, and then I'll write it out, and then I will yeah, and just every once in a while, just so I can keep myself reminded of how to code in Java. Practice makes perfect, and the more and more experience you get with handling Java, the better you'll get at just finding out these errors.
All right, so I think now we're gonna have our 10-minute break. So we'll be back at like 4:10, and you guys, like turn off your cameras, mute your mic, or whatever, do whatever you want for 10 minutes. But yeah, and then we'll be back. So we'll see you at like 4:11.
Are we having our break right now?
Yeah, it's a 10-minute break.
Is it still break time?
Yeah, like another minute.
All right, hello. So it's finished. The break is finished pretty much. So I hope you all had a good break and I don't know, did something instead of sitting here. So now we're gonna like go into okay. Now we're gonna go into if statements. So let's see. Can you all see this? Wait, okay, can you see this? Wait, there's chat. All right, so basically, this is just a more in-depth thing about integers versus or primitives versus objects. So here's what's happening when you do int number equals 2. So here's your variable. Let me see if I can annotate this. All right, so that's your variable, and it's set to the value 2. And then this is your next line, int number 2 equals number. So it's what it's done is well, from here to here, it's made a copy, right? So it's a different object type thing. Whereas, okay. Whereas for objects, so here's your string name, and it's set to bruh. And then now we set it to high. So now we've set it to high. So it's created a new object, and this thing is just, it's still there, and it'll get deleted pretty soon, but there's no variable referencing it. And then once you make a new name too and set it to name, it references the exact same objects. And if I go to the previous slide, you can see here, doing the same thing with a primitive, it makes a copy. So primitive, it makes a copy when you set number 2 to number, and then for strings, it doesn't make a copy, and it sets it to the same variable. And that's got something to do with if statements. So that's why I put it there. So what are if statements? So if statements are like basically the word if. So like if this thing is true, then you run the thing inside of it. So like if in a website, if I enter the right password, then I get into my account, you know? If like the health of my character is 0 or below, then the character is dead. So in Java, what that means is like int x equals 10, and then if x is greater than 5, which is like one of the things for if statements, then it runs the code inside of the curly bracket. So what you have is you have the if, which is a keyword, I think, and then you have parentheses, and inside the parentheses you put your statement. And if that statement is true, for example, 10 is greater than 5, then it runs the code inside of your curly brackets. So here are all of the operators. So greater than was the one we used here. Also less than, and then less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and then two equal signs is equals, equal to. And the reason it's not 1 is because that's reserved for setting variables, like in I equals 10. And then, wait, what slide is this? Okay, so I mean, there's one more thing I wanted to go over. Let me just, here, okay. So the reason, okay, so the double equal signs, it's if it equals, right? So if int password equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I have, whoop, what happened? So let's see. So if password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then this thing will work. Whereas, let me just put this here. So is there text? There is. So this is false. This is false. And the reason it's false is because it's creating two new objects. So this Joe makes an object here, and this Joe makes an object here, and they're not equal. But which is why you have to use dot equals, which is like if name equals Joe, then that's equal. So what equals does do is it compares if the objects they're referencing is equal. So if I go back, you don't exactly have to know this, but it's just something. So if I go back to this, right, and we've set name2 equal to name, then name2 equals name, that's true. Because they're both referencing the same object over here. And this is pretty it's pretty tricky to get, so it might take you a while, but yeah. And then nope. And then here we go. So I think Alex, this is where
All right. So this is we're gonna do a little example code. Not the one on the screen, but just something to get you guys into like, oops, there's a lot of stuff happening on my screen right now. Just for you guys to really understand how this would be coded. An if statement. Okay, so here, okay, there's the problem, the prompt. So yeah, we're in the IntelliJ editor, and we're gonna solve this problem. If it rains outside, then bring an umbrella, and if the weather is clear, then bring nothing. Okay, so what this is gonna do is it's gonna basically we're gonna have it print out two statements, one for if it rains and one for if it's sunny. So if it rains, we're gonna have it print out bring an umbrella, and if it's sunny, we're gonna have it print out nothing basically. Okay, so we're gonna need two if statements for this because there's two if statements. If it rains outside, then bring an umbrella, and if the weather is clear, then you don't bring anything. Okay, so how you write an if statement, Java? We start off with just the words if, and then two parentheses, or actually we just open one. I usually just do it both, like write like this, but you can just do whatever you want. And then we're gonna put something in here later. We're gonna have brackets here and end brackets there. So this is our first if statement. So we're gonna have it print out. We have it system.out.println. Bring an umbrella, and we're actually gonna comment this code. We're gonna say if statement for rainy days. Okay, so we're gonna have to put something in between these parentheses. This is gonna be the condition. And the condition, we're gonna actually make a Boolean. It's gonna be Boolean is raining. And we're gonna set that to true by default. So we're gonna put this in here. If is raining is equal to true, then we're gonna print this out. We're gonna say bring an umbrella. So if it's raining, then bring an umbrella. That's how you can shorten this down. And then we're gonna write another if statement. If is raining is equal to false, then we're gonna system dot out dot print line bring nothing. And there we go. There are a couple of coding tricks you can do. For example, you can just go to this because this is a conditional. The part in the parentheses will either output true or false. So you can just put a variable in there. So if it's true, then yeah, I can make the text a bit bigger. Let's see. Just make that. Oops. Can I type? There we go. All right, how about that? It gets cut off a bit, but that's fine. Okay. So yeah, you can kind of shorten it down to just is raining, because this takes in a true or false. From the if statement's perspective, it gets handed either true or false. So this could be in the form of like for example, x is greater than 30. Like if we have our x is less than 30, so if we have like an int x equals 15, this would return this part right here, like this stuff would just be true, and then the if statement gets handed true, and it says, okay, I execute this, but we could just give it true. We can also even just put true right here, and it'll just always execute this. So yeah. So you don't even need this double equals. You need this for this because if you don't have anything, hold up. Yes, Chuck.
Oh, for the if is raining system dot out dot print in, and then the parentheses you said bring and umbrella, and I didn't know what you were saying.
That was a bit of a typo on my part. Sorry about that. It won't work for this because if you try and get rid of this, it's going to be the same. These two are the same thing, right? It's going to say if it's true and if it's true. So it's not going to work out as the same as, just is raining. So yeah, you're getting the equals false for if you want to see if something's false. And if we just run this code, actually, hold up. Is someone else raising their hand? Yeah, Abigail.
For if is raining equals false, why do you need a double equal sign?
Oh yeah, that's a bit of a, yeah, let me explain that right now. Okay, so there's a difference between single and doubles equals. So single equals means you're setting a variable to something else. So for example, Boolean is raining equals false. That's us setting is raining to false. But double equals is a comparison. It's saying is this thing equal to this other thing. So having a double equals here just is comparing the two, whereas a single equals means you're setting something to something else. So if we just run this code right here and let it build, we can see, let me move this out of the way. You can see bring an umbrella down here. And if we set this to false and we run the code, we can see bring nothing. And that's how if statements work. So you can see it responds to whatever input you give it, right? This is the input. Now, for I think it was the first day we described how you have input and output for code. This is the input. And it'll give you a different output depending on what input you put in. So yeah, now it's time to try it yourself with what's posted on screen if Eric starts screen sharing.
Wait, what?
There's a problem, right?
Oh yes. Let's start. By the way, sorry if I was speaking really loud before. I wasn't really thinking about it. So, yeah. So, yes. Okay, so also that is a string, so just be careful. Hey guys, so I think what you should do here is open your IntelliJ if you can. Just write the code, and then we'll have a thing for you to put. You just copy and paste down Google Classroom. I think you can check it there. We'll make some in Google Classroom.
So do we just write this code into the Google Classroom, or do we have to put it in IntelliJ?
Well, I mean, either way is fine, but if you can put it into IntelliJ, that means you can actually run it. So yeah.
So there's an assignment on Google Classroom about it's just titled classwork 3.1. So yeah, you will type your answers into that question, and then we'll review them and then look over it. It's a lot easier to deal with than putting it into Zoom chat. And also, you don't have to use IntelliJ if you don't want to. IntelliJ is just like a guarantee to make sure, like, you can just check over your answers by running your code before you submit it into Google Classroom. By the way, you'll have 13 more minutes for this problem. Wait, sorry, no, I'm sorry. I looked at the time wrong. No, not 13. Just, sorry, 8. 8 more minutes.
Is there a way to check this slideshow?
A program that check whether a variable is 3404.
What?
Like, how do you make a program? I typed like if parentheses that number, and then I did equal sign twice equals true, and then
So what are you doing?
so like I typed if, and then I typed the parentheses, and in the middle of the parentheses I typed a 3404 equals true, like 2 equal signs true.
Yep, that's pretty good. So
It says I'm incorrect.
in IntelliJ?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's pretty good, but you haven't got the whole thing, you know? So what you've got to make a variable first, and then you have to do that.
Is there a way to access this slideshow?
I mean, we'll put it up after class, but I mean, for now,
We'll try to put up
not really.
now. Wait, Eric, let's just try to put it up. Out
What?
the slides. We could
Okay.
just we could also put up W3 schools.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, the person who asked that, I'll make a copy after, or I'll put on classroom. Maybe
All right.
as soon as I can. Or Alex, one of you can if you want.
I was helping some other people.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there something that you need me for? Or you guys have 3 minutes left.
Oh yeah, try your code in IntelliJ before you turn it in, because IntelliJ will give you all the errors, like syntax wise. Because I'm noticing a lot of errors are all syntax. So if you use IntelliJ, which you probably should use, it will show you all your errors, and but like you don't even have to ask us.
All right. So there's a bit of issues with the main class. So here, let me just show you guys the main class. Okay. So we're in IntelliJ. Let me actually open up and make the font larger again. All right.
Okay, so we're also gonna go over it, right?
Oh wait, I can't do that in this one. Let's see. Okay.
It's not letting me type.
Letting you in where? Okay. Oh, hold up. Okay. I can zoom in on this. Okay. So why don't we just wipe this? Okay, so this is where you're going to start off. All your code goes into a main method. We've said this before. How you get a main method into your code is you just type in psvm. Don't move your mouse or anything, and then click tab on your keyboard, and it'll make this public static void main string args guy. And then you can type all your code in here. and then type all your code in this public static void main string args place. That's your main method. If you're having main method errors, then that's why. It's because you don't have a main method, probably. And did someone say that they can't type in their code? All right, then. Eric, if you want to go back to screen sharing the problem.
Okay. So, great. So wait, did we have the solution for this, or is it alright?
Yeah, I'll just code it in front of them. I'll just do some live code. And
Okay, so
all right,
we'll just go over if else statements first, and then Alex can go over this thing. So basically, oh wait, that's not if else. Here it is. So here's the if statement, right? If x is greater than 10. So what the else does, right? You put it after the if, and if x is not greater than 10, then it runs the else instead of the thing in here. So I mean, yeah. So with the else, you don't need the parentheses because you just there's nothing to put in them, and then you have the curly braces just like the if statement, and you need to have an if before the else. So yeah.
Eric, did we go over the?
Yeah, I don't think we went over the problem, but I think Alex can go over it at the same time. So yeah, that's if else statements.
Do you want me to go over it?
no, I got it. All right, okay. This is a bit buggy. The theme that I'm using doesn't let me.
Gotta make the font bigger.
Yeah, it doesn't let me do that. Hold up. I have to get rid of this Atom theme. Okay. Oh, I have to restart. Oh, that's really sad. Okay. Oh, that's not good.
You could just use that.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll change it later. Okay, so we're gonna recode this both if else statements. Here, I'll just go over the problem first. Okay, so first we're gonna need a string password. We can set that to something later. We're gonna need an if statement. So we're gonna do that. And the if statement needs a condition. So we're gonna say password, if password is equal to, what was the password, 3404? Then we're gonna say system.out.println accepted. And we're gonna come back up here. And we're actually gonna set the password to like 3333. And then we can run this and we'll see that it shouldn't print out anything because the password isn't 3404. So it just skips over this entire if statement. But if we change the password to 3404 in here and we run it again. Oh, right. This is yeah, so strings should be used with dot equals just because there's some discrepancies. Like for example, I think if we do a little testing here, if password equals 3404, print we'll print out system.out.println strings, strings equal ints. We're getting an error here. You see? I don't think this is much of an issue, right? In Java, but in other languages maybe. But yeah, if we run this, then it should throw in an error. Yeah, bad operand. Okay. So, but you should just use dot equals. It's good habits. And I have bad habits because I've just developed it. But yeah, use dot equals for strings. It's there for you. You should use it. And we can actually read it. Yeah. So
you can
just print out
also do
accepted.
this for ints. So instead of like a string password, you can use int password.
Yeah. We could do something like int password
That would probably
equals
be easier. You wouldn't need the dot equals.
3404. And then we could do password equals 3404. And then if we run this as well, accepted. Okay, but we'll go back to string because that's what the problem said.
So don't worry if you got this wrong, since the format and how we write it is very new. You just gotta write it more to get used to how we write it. Everyone at the
Actually, no.
start has like some sort of problems with this. So yeah.
I can't type. You can see when we run it again, it does accept it. If we do something like 304, it'll print out denied. Because if the password is 3404, it'll print out accepted, and oops. And if it's not, if it's anything else, then it'll just print out denied. So yeah. You don't if you don't need to have this else statement. It wasn't in the problem. We just learned about it like 5 seconds ago. But this is just an example of how else statements work. But if you just comment out this, this is what you should have gotten. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, let's do that weather thing. Okay, so we had a Boolean is rainy equals true. So it is rainy outside. Well, it used to be. Now it's kind of just overcast, but we'll say it's rainy. It's rainy. Then system dot out dot print line bring an umbrella. But remember, last time we had to have 2 if statements because we said also if is rainy is not true, then we'll print out bring nothing. But we can just add an else statement here. Else system dot out dot print line bring nothing. So yeah, this is just the same thing as like the other one, but it's a bit shorter. So if it's true, so it says bring an umbrella. And if we set it to false, we'll say bring nothing. But there is a bit of an issue with these two things. There's a difference between if else and just 2 if statements. There's actually a pretty big difference. For example, if we have an int x is equal to 35, and we say if x is equal to, or sorry, if x is greater than 20, since not the print line, x is greater than 20, and then else we'll say x is not greater than 20. If we print this, it'll say x is greater than 20, right? It'll say, we'll do this. And if we do an else statement, it'll say x is greater than 15. But it'll just print out this one statement, x is greater than 20, right? Because if is true, it'll skip over the else. And if the is false, it'll skip it over and print the else and do whatever's in the else statement. So it's either or. You can either have the if statement or the else statement, not both. But if we have 2 if statements, like for example, if I just get rid of this and say, if x is also greater than 15, system dot out, so if I can type, dot print line, x is greater than 15, and also semicolon that, and we run this, you'll see it actually prints out both because it can run this and then run this. It's not an else statement. These two are not the same because when you have an if else statement, only one statement can be run, either the if or the else. You can't have both if and else be run at the same time. But if you have 2 if statements, you can have both of them run at the same time. So that's the difference between if else and 2 if statements. There's a big difference. It can also just impact the code in many different ways. So yeah, it's pretty important. All right. Let's just get another example problem up in here. Oh, wait, actually, this is huge. Okay, let's do a whole unit review. I'll put up another place in the Google Doc in the classroom for you. This is going to be your assignment for the rest of class. You'll have about 15 minutes. You can stay over. Oops, you can stay over. So you're gonna have to do these. Your code is gonna have to do these 4 things. Print your name, age, month that you're born. Write code that checks if your age is greater than 10. If true, print hi. If not, print goodbye. And write code that checks the variable passcode is equal to 100. If it is, print passcode, otherwise print go away. And then create an x variable that equals 410 and a variable y that equals 23. Write the code that multiplies x times y and print that out. So you're gonna have to do these 4 things. And then also, these are separate, by the way. So don't use the same age variable for this one. These 2 are 2 different age variables. And then I'll put up another place for you to send it to in Google Classroom. And then, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go over the main class stuff again.
Let's put her in a breakout room.
Actually, yeah.
It's not working. It won't let me type or do anything.
Danny, I'll help you if you want to stay after class. Actually, no. Here, I'm gonna stop screen sharing because the problem is on Google Classroom anyways.
Yeah, I just
and then
put
I'll
the
hop in a
problem on
breakout room.
Classroom.
So if you need to see that, go there. I'm gonna help some people with their IntelliJ.
So we're almost out of time, and right before we run out of time, I'm just gonna say this: if you don't finish this in class, you can do it for homework. Next week we'll go over it in class. If you have any questions, please feel free to send us a message on Discord. We're pretty much always available. You can check us out on the AYLUS Discord. I should be named Andrew W. Eric is Eric, and Alex is just Alex. So if you have a question, just send us a message on there. We should be able to get back to you. So yeah, just make sure you get this done for homework if you don't finish.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
You don't have to leave. You can stay if
Bye.
you want, but.
Bye bye.
Yeah, we got it sorted out. Do any of you guys have problems? If you don't, you can leave. If you still have problems, then I guess stay a bit, and then we'll get you guys sorted out. All right. Do you guys have any issues? No? Okay.
I have a bit of an issue.
All right.
So to use IntelliJ, I clicked on make a new project. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It took me somewhere.
Okay.
And
I actually have a
no,
I
I'm
actually have a
not
video
sure.
on this.
Yeah, I think it gave me a new folder, and I don't know where to.
Did you follow the video yet? I posted a video on the Google Classroom about how to make IntelliJ stuff. Here it is. Oh, that's actually a 10-second time, but whatever.
Okay. Thank you. I'll
Yep.
check that out.
If any of you guys still have issues with IntelliJ, then be sure to like follow that video before, because that might sort out a lot of your issues with like making a project and stuff like that.
Is there a password for? What's the password for the next Zoom meeting? Because
You can just click the link in Google Classroom.
Yeah, there's
Well,
no
actually-
password. No,
oh,
yeah, just click the link. That
there
should
might be a
be-
password. Let me look it up. Hold on. Yeah, you should just click the link in the Google Classroom.
oh, okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Her.
We'll have to go over the public word name because Olivia just asked me what's the main function.
I have a question. I have something that I want to run, but I don't know how I can